Hi, my name's Yuki from 7B, and this is my self-analysis video on the basketball unit that we just had in PE. So, my advantages. My first advantage would be my aggression against weaker opponents, because there's just something inside me that knows that I can beat these opponents. And by weaker, I don't mean by power, I mean by skill. And so I try to drive into the lane as hard as I can, change my speed along the way, and try to draw the foul against weaker opponents. This can be viewed as an advantage and a disadvantage, but I'll get to that later because my disadvantages are after my advantages. My second advantage would be my layups. I think my layups have become much more consistent than last year. Last year I found myself to be making only around 70% of my open layups, and that's really bad. Um, so this year, I took the initiative to improve my layups, and now I can make at least 95% of the open layups that I take. I just like to thank Mr. Coach Stanworth and Mr. Noon for setting up all those layup drills that we did in practice. So, and for making me as well as the team's layups more consistent. My third advantage would be my ball handling skills. And although I don't really, I only really use basic ball handling skills such as a crossover, the double crossover. I sometimes fake a crossover. Actually, yeah, I do that often. Behind the back, in between the legs, and the spin move. I found that those basic moves can really help you during the games, because that's all it really takes to get past your opponent. So yeah, my fourth advantage would be my shooting. My shooting has become much more consistent than last year, just like my layups, and now I can shoot from basically anywhere on the court except for, I mean, I can make a half court shot once in a while, but it wouldn't really go. It's not too consistent. But my threes, of course my layups, as I just said, my mid-range jumpers, are all pretty consistent, and yeah, those have helped me during the games in against other schools as well as just simply in PE. My fifth and last advantage that I've listed here is my defensive stance, and I think my defensive stance is very nice and low. So and I always keep my hands in the air. So not only does that block the opponent's view, it also it prevents them from putting from throwing a pass into one of their teammates yeah, so it prevents them from doing that really easily, and therefore at the same time puts pressure on them. Now to the disadvantages. My first disadvantage that I listed here sort of refers back to my advantages, where I said that I'm only aggressive against weaker opponents. I'd say that's half true, because I am fairly aggressive against stronger opponents. It's just that I'm not as advantaged. I'm just not as aggressive, and so I think it's just I'm a bit overwhelmed by the skills that I tend to lay back and try to settle in for 3-pointers or mid-range jumpers that I can mostly make. But I just like it's I think for me it's much more relaxing to be able to go in and make a layup rather than having to shoot a 3 every time. So my second disadvantage would be that I can't really do a layup with my left hand as well as I can as much as I can do with my right. I can do it, but it's just not as good as my right, obviously, and I think I really need to work on that if I'm gonna play a high school ball or something. So yeah, the next part of this video is what is man-to-man defense. So yeah, what is man-to-man defense? Man-to-man defense is when you stick to your man throughout the whole game, and so that's the definition of man-to-man defense. But my tips for not for perfecting man-to-man defense is, of course, get nice and low, put your arms up high, um, and just never lose track of your man. Always know where he's going. Always keep him in your sight and never let him go. Even when you're back, you're in transition. You're going back on D. Always know where he is, or else he will find a way to score. If you're going against a guy that's good. The third, the next tip that I have is only switch when you're forced to by the other team. So these occasions could be like maybe when they set a pick on you, or pick on one of your teammates, so you have to switch, or maybe when there's a big mismatch, maybe your point guard is guarding your opponent's center, so you'd have to switch there. But always try not to switch, because it can really mess things up, and always just be on your man. And don't forget, if you do switch, don't forget to switch back on the next play, or else you'll have the mismatch for the whole game, and they can really score on you if that happens. So I was told to list 3 rules of basketball, and so my first one would be backcourt violation. Backcourt violation is when you're on offense, you've passed the halfway line, but then you're maybe pressured by the defense or something, but you go back a step into the other half, so that'd be a backcourt violation, and therefore be a turnover because the other team gets the ball. The next rule is a carry. A carry is when you're dribbling, but you put it when you're dribbling, and when you dribble, you're supposed to always have you're also, this is a motion where you're supposed to dribble with, but when you go like this, and you point your palm towards the ceiling or the sky, and the ball is there, that'd be carry. Going like this and then going back down would be a carry, unless you pass or something, or maybe shoot. You'd be called for a carry, and the other team will get the ball. The third and last rule is 3 seconds in the key. When you're on offense, I think maybe even on defense, I don't know. I've seen it in the NBA, but when you're on offense, in middle school, when you're on offense and you step in the key for 3 seconds, you get called for the violation, and the other team gets the ball. So yeah, you just have to you really got to watch out where you're standing. Make sure not to step 3 seconds in the key. Yeah. So the last part of my video is my goal, and my goal for basketball is to become a better basketball player, offensively and defensively. So I'm gonna achieve this by fixing up my disadvantages that I listed in the video, and work on them frequently. So thank you for watching. That was my self-analysis on my basketball self-analysis video, and yeah, thank you once again.